Hey, this is Danny. Welcome to a whole nother awesome video. Yesterday the PS4 Pro got announced officially, and here's my thoughts on the PlayStation 4 Pro, basically. Well, first of all, let me just say I'm a little bit disappointed in the PlayStation 4 Pro because I feel like Sony didn't bring their A game. I mean, the Xbox Scorpio is coming out Christmas 2017, and Microsoft, I think the price point Microsoft confirmed was under $1,000. It's going to have 6 teraflops. It's going to be amazing. Really a lot of hype around that. And then they launched the PlayStation 4 Pro that's going to come out this November, Sony, right? And I just felt like, like it's 2 times more powerful than the PlayStation 4, right? It has no 4K Blu-ray player. Now, why on earth would Sony not include a 4K Blu-ray player is beyond me. I mean, they're the one of the pioneers in creating 4K content. They're filming it, they're making movies on it, they profit from it when people buy 4K Blu-rays that are Sony movies and put them in 4K Blu-ray players. They are making a profit. So the only reason why I can see why they dropped a 4K Blu-ray player in the PlayStation 4 Pro is because they were trying to save money. And that to me is just it's just terrible for the industry. It's terrible for them. They have no idea what they've done, basically. Now, the PlayStation 4 Slim took out the optical drive, which a lot of people like because they want to listen to really good, sound quality. A lot of people depend on that for headsets, for sound systems, all-in-one sound systems, Bose sound systems, whatever. People like the optical drive. They dropped that to make it $299 price point for the PlayStation 4 Slim, and now the PlayStation 4 Pro does have the optical drive, but it has no 4K Blu-ray player. Sony, did you not watch my video that I made a video about what the PlayStation 4K should be? I sent it to the president of Sony on my Twitter account. Clearly, he never watched it because Sony did not listen to anything I told them to do. I said, Sony, if you're out there, please put a 4K Blu-ray player in your next PlayStation 4. And they did not do that. They did not listen to the fans. They did not listen to me. They did not listen to anybody. Not only that, but since it's only 2 times more powerful and has like what 4.5 teraflops of computing power, which means we're only going to get upscaled 4K games on AAA games, and the indie games will be 4K. Big deal. I don't care. I like the AAA games. I don't know about you guys. Here's the thing. I own a PlayStation 4. I'm keeping my original PlayStation 4. Somehow Sony says they're coming out with an update so they can update all the PlayStation 4s, so they'll have HDR compatibility, which is good if you have a 4K TV. But at the same time, I mean, that's great and everything. That if you own original PlayStation 4, you're going to have, a little bit better blacks or whatever. That's what they're advertising, for 4K TVs. A little bit better colors or whatever. Um, but that's not 4K on the original PlayStation 4. That's not 4K on the PlayStation 4 Slim. The only thing that's actually going to be 4K, which is mostly going to be upscaled, is going to be 4K games on the PlayStation 4 Pro, which remember it was called the Neo, right? Now it's called PlayStation 4 Pro. Anyways, I just feel like Sony really, really, really did a bad move here. And let me tell you guys why. I'm going to tell you right now why this is a bad move for Sony. The PlayStation 3, came in at a $600 price point. People thought that was insane when it launched, but it was revolutionary technology at the time, and they were pioneers at the time with Blu-ray. How are they pioneers if they're going away from a technology that they were embracing themselves, which is 4K Blu-ray, a hand that they got their stocks in, basically? How are they pioneers by going away from their own technology? You know what I'm saying? So let me tell you guys why this is bad for the industry. First of all, a Blu-ray disc can fit 50 gigabytes of information. The Wii U games were limited to 25 gigabytes. All right. Now that might not seem like a big deal to you. Well, 50 gigabytes, that's quite a lot for a video game, blah, 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 right? Well, let me tell you something. 4K Blu-ray discs can fit 100 to 150 gigabytes, depending on if they're like layered. The dual layer 4K Blu-ray disc can fit like 150 gigabytes. Now just imagine 100 to 150 gigabytes. That's a massive game. They can put series of games on one disc, put that in your machine, and it downloads to your system. Boom, bada bang type of thing, right? So, I mean, this is really bad when you think about it for the industry when you think about it, because they're not embracing something that should already, be there, and their worlds aren't going to be as big now because of that. So now Microsoft is going to be able to make these massive Halo 4K games, okay, that take like 90 gigabytes in the future, and Sony is only going to be able to make like a 50 gigabyte video game with like maybe with like some patches that make it more gigabytes or whatever, right? Or maybe they'll just put it on two discs, but who wants to put two discs in it? It should be all on one disc, right? So now Microsoft has the edge because they can take one disc and take all the Halo games and put it on one disc. And they can be like, oh, you want to buy the Halo series? Well, here you go. 4K Blu-ray disc, put it in your system, boom, bada bam. You can play all the Halo games, the new one that came out, the next one that came out. They'll all be there on like two or one disc. And Sony's going to be like, oh, well, you want all the Uncharted series? Here's all the discs. And it's going to be like disc after disc after disc. Microsoft's going to be able to make a profit off that because less manufacturing means more money. Okay? The less material that you use to create that disc, you're going to make more money. 4K Blu-rays are the future of gaming as we know it for 4K gaming, because you need more gigabytes in order to run a true 4K game, depending on how long it is. If it's a really long game, you're going to need a lot of gigabytes. Not only that, but you can put 4K audio on 4K discs. 4K Blu-ray has next generation audio. So Microsoft can do whatever they want with their 4K games now because they got the edge. They got more information. They can do all kinds of things. So I just hate to say it, but Xbox Scorpio to me just seems like the future of console gaming. Until here's the thing, I think that Sony might have a hand to play in this, and I think PlayStation 5 is just right around the bend because Sony, when that console comes out, they're going to realize that they messed up. So they're going to come out with another console that's going to top the Xbox Scorpio, which is going to be the PlayStation 5. 4 or 5 years from now, we will see a PlayStation 5, and it will be more powerful. And Sony's going to know, hey, we need to put a 4K Blu-ray player in it. Maybe they'll even make another Xbox Pro that actually has a 4K Blu-ray player in it because they'll realize their mistakes. But until Sony knows that they messed up, they're not going to change things, which is why I'm making this video now, telling Sony, hey, you guys messed up. You need to change the way you're doing things. To me, the PlayStation 4 Pro is just a newer, fancier PlayStation 4, which they wanted it to be, but it doesn't offer me anything that I wanted. I wanted a 4K Blu-ray player. Now, I haven't bought an Xbox since the original Xbox. And I've been a PlayStation fan since the original PlayStation 3. I own like two PlayStation 3s. I own a PlayStation 4. A lot of people on the internet were saying, hey, you're an Xbox fanboy. I'm not an Xbox fanboy. I'm like a Sony fanboy. Look at me. I'm wearing a Sony headset right now. It's not an Xbox headset. All right. And a lot of people are like, well, why would you want to buy an Xbox Scorpio? Why don't you just buy a PC? All the games are going to be on PC anyways. And the thing is, I'm not really into PC. I'm more of a Mac person. I like Apple products, like the iPad, okay? I like stuff like this, you know it's like handheld or Apple products. I'm not really into um, stuff that's other than that, and I never really got into the PC point of view, and I don't like having to take your equipment and having to upgrade everything that's in the system. I just like it to work out of the box. I've been a console gamer since Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64. Okay? I'm not the type of person that likes to update my hardware. I just like it to work for like 10 years and be good. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna buy a PC to do 4K gaming. I'm gonna buy the Xbox Scorpio because I want a 4K Blu-ray player. I want that console experience, which is a lot of fun. And I hope that Sony will get their act together and come out with the PlayStation 5 and make a console that's even more powerful than the Scorpio. But honestly, I think it's going to be a lot of fun getting back into Xbox gaming, which I haven't done for a long time. And I wouldn't mind being a Sony fan and an Xbox fan at the same time. And I always admired Sony for being embracing new technology like Blu-ray, and I just feel like they abandoned their own next generation format, which is 4K Blu-ray disc. And I'm sure that they're working on a 4K Blu-ray player right now that's is probably going to be just as good as Panasonic's. That's going to have Dolby 4K HDR, capabilities, which Dolby HDR is the best HDR you can get, and that's not even available on the Scorpio or the PlayStation 4 Pro, which boggles my mind why they wouldn't embrace Dolby HDR, which is on their TVs. But I think they're working on a player that's going to do that because Panasonic's way ahead of them on this, and they've already created a 4K Blu-ray player that does that. But I think that they should have had a 4K Blu-ray player on here that did Dolby HDR, that did HDR10 right out of the box for the consumer themselves, because people that move, you know, consoles into a new direction and do something new and allow people to get the full 4K experience, that's great. I mean, not all of us want to watch Netflix in 4K. Not all of us have the capabilities to watch 4K on Netflix. Not all of us have really good internet. Some of us have really crappy internet, and we live in different parts of the world. And and sometimes, every once in a while, your internet goes down, and you just want to watch a 4K movie. You know what I mean? And you don't want to watch it on Netflix. You just want to watch a 4K movie. And Netflix only is limited to the content that they put on there, like Marco Polo, Daredevil. They got a lot of great shows in 4K. But honestly, if you buy a 4K TV, a really good one, you won't have to worry about that because you'll be buying a smart TV that will allow you to watch Netflix in 4K anyways. So upscaled 4K gaming just doesn't seem worth it on the PlayStation 4 Pro, right? And I think that Xbox Scorpio has the right idea because they're allowing the consumer to go watch movies, play games, do anything that they want to do in 4K. And they're giving you a true 4K experience while gaming, not just an upscaled experience, but a true 4K gaming experience with 6 teraflops, giving you the most powerful console that you can get, and you can watch 4K movies. And that to me just seems worth it. And I'm probably gonna pick up the Xbox Scorpio. And I'm not an Xbox fanboy. I'm a Sony fanboy too. I'm a fanboy of both. Let's just be honest here, all right? And I just think that's great. And I'm definitely not a PC fanboy because I'm definitely not into PCs. It's just something that I was never into. So don't try to sell me on the whole PC master race thing, okay? So I just think it's cool that Microsoft is going to do that for us. But I don't think it's cool that Sony didn't embrace 4K Blu-ray. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to have in a PlayStation 4 Pro, and they dropped that. And if they had that, I would have been interested and I would have gone out and purchased one. But they dropped my favorite feature, which I thought was gonna, be amazing. But anyways, that's what I think of the PlayStation 4 Pro. Put your comments down below. I like to hear your thoughts. And have an awesome night, everyone.